Please subscribe.
As capital amasses and worries about cash gradually vanish into the rear view, buys become less about what will fit in the financial limit and increasingly about what will fit into an individual's life. In case you're hoping to spend about $150,000 on a vehicle, almost every vehicle available fits into that can, so everything comes down to finding a ride that best agrees with your way of life. The most recent emphasis of the Alpina B7 depends on the new for 2020 Bmw 7 Series. The Alpina B7 is a not oft-considered super sedan in this financial stratum. In any case, with various saving graces and no considerable drawbacks, maybe it ought to be higher up on individuals' need records. What separates it? Selectiveness is a main consideration for some top-of-the-line vehicle purchasers, and there's not any more elite brand than one that isn't actually regular information. For the new, I'll state that the Alpina B7 is no normal Bimmer. Each 7 Series begins its life at BMW's Dingolfing, Germany-based plant. However, Alpina culls its vehicles from the line and includes an entire bundle of novel hardware that puts the B7 a stage above. Alpina has some expertise in void area vehicles, in other words, the automaker. Alpina is a different automaker from BMW, actually, yet is just perceived in that capacity in Europe, utilizes its changes to make vehicles that possess fragments where BMW isn't dynamic. Much like my associate Steven Ewing proposed on his first drive of the Alpina B7, one could fundamentally believe this vehicle to be the M7 that BMW won't manufacture. Alpina's outside contacts give the B7 more character than the standard vehicle. The restyled guards are a smidge progressively forceful, and I like the manner in which the organization can stick a sizable Alpina identification simply over the lip. Out back, I'm an enthusiast of the back guard, which encompasses the quad tailpipes, just as the little lip spoiler that projects from the storage compartment. And afterward there are the wheels. These 20-inch, 20-tock wheels are a staple of Alpina's structure language, and they rule. Enveloped by Alpina's restrictive shade of green, the B7 makes a remarkable explanation any place it goes, and that is not in any event, checking BMW's consistently developing kidney grills. Inside, Alpina's hand softly graces what is an effectively palatial space. There are just a couple of novel arrangements. The middle comfort conveys an Alpina notice. There's a one-of-a-kind identification on the dashboard, and the controlling wheel has button-style move paddles that are decidedly irritating to utilize. My analyzer feels very exemplary with its blend of white calfskin, Nappa is standard, and splendid myrtle wood. However, those living on the more battered edge of style will without a doubt pick another of BMW's hoard inside trim choices. Pretty much every surface I contact is cowhide, and everything feels very dazzling. Indeed, even without every one of the alternatives boxes ticked, the Alpina B7's back seat is a fortune. You can drop a wad of cash and alternative to individual seats isolated by honk-and-focused support, yet my analyzer still depends on a seat format that remaining parts compelling agreeable and offers both headroom and legroom in spades. Toss an extra $3,900 in with the general mishmash, and the back seats get overhauled with ventilation and back rub capacities, notwithstanding attaching warmed armrests for all travelers and a warm directing wheel. The storage compartment presents enough space for various golf sacks, a couple of full-size bags. Regardless of whether the excursion is long or short, everything will fit back there. The M7 BMW will never manufacture, while my analyzer, as it's optioned, resembles its about old-fashioned peacefulness at about. The Alpina B7 is far beyond that. Truth be told, it really exchanges what could be a much increasingly extravagant ride for sportiness, a modifier you wouldn't generally connect with a vehicle of this size. Flipping up the hood, I see one more commitment to what makes Alpina's vehicles so extraordinary. The 4.4-liter, twin-turbocharged V8 from the 750i has been completely adjusted to create 600 pull and 590 pound-feet of torque, upgrades of 77 and 37, separately. It doesn't have the trademark smoothness of the M760i's V12, however this 8-bot is shockingly adaptable, offering both solace and execution in equivalent portions. Remain light on the throttle and the B7 will act like an escort benevolent limousine. Give the gas pedal a decent ball crushing, however, and the turbos spool up to give a practically unnatural measure of quickening at any speed, and it'll continue pulling like a psycho past the 200-mile-per-hour boundary. There's no dynamic fumes on offer, however the default motor note is sufficiently uproarious to be drawing in without being irritating at lower speeds. An 8-speed programmed transmission is standard, and it's a smooth one, particularly in comfort mode when it couldn't care less about move speeds. That non-abrasiveness reaches out to the B7's ride, as well. Alpina had its way with the versatile suspension, tweaking it to all the more likely match the vehicle's to some degree wearing character. The ride is still forceful extravagant, with its 20-inch Michelin Pilot Super Sport summer tires offering enough sidewall to assimilate most on-street nerves. Be that as it may, it unquestionably feels more honed than something tuned only for comfort, similar to the M760i, remaining level in more honed turns. Working related to race hub controlling and all-wheel drive, the B7 packs a spreeness that its huge impression gives a false representation of. The B7's controlling has a pleasant load to it, and it's immediate enough to make me need to slap the vehicle somewhat harder than others may. Fortunately, when it's up to speed, carrying the B7 with throttle to zero is decenter and simple. The steel brakes on each corner clasp with power at high rates, however the pedal is still simple enough to adjust at low speeds, making those ultra-smooth limousine stops minimal more than a piece of cake. It's unquestionably able in the corners, yet as far as I can tell, the B7 is progressively about impacting down extended lengths of level expressway, something it is with greatness. The EPA guarantees the B7 will accomplish 17 miles for every gallon city and 25 miles per gallon interstate. Most purchasers won't think about the expense of topping off this large Bavarian, yet I can affirm that hitting the ballpark expressway figure is bounty practical, in spite of the fact that the longing to encounter all that to work will make city driving somewhat less efficient. Beside an Alpina explicit skin on the 12.3-inch measure bunch screen, the B7's tech is the same than what's found in the standard 7 series, and that is something worth being thankful for. With measures left and right flanking a little guide without names that is just helpful when turn-by-turn headings are empowered, the screen offers only a smidge of assortment, giving me a chance to alter what's shown inside the correct check, regardless of whether it's mileage, anything that's playing on the radio or the present power and torque yield. That screen is supplemented with the 10.25-inch touchscreen on the dashboard running the most recent tradition of BMW's iDrive infotainment programming. The framework is bounty quick, regardless of whether I'm utilizing this physical dial or my own fingers to jump through its numerous menus, the sheer thickness of which can get threatening before muscle memory adjusts. The configurable home screen gives me a chance to see pretty much all that I need with a fast look, and it's likewise equipped for running Apple CarPlay remotely, which is a decent touch that I wish more automakers would embrace. At the point when it comes time to charge, there's a USB-A port between the remote charger and the cup holders, just as a USB-C port under the middle armrest. A lot of BMW's security tech comes standard on the Alpina B7. My analyzer comes outfitted from the production line with an encompasses camera framework, leaving sensors and a suite of uninvolved and dynamic driver helps that join to keep the vehicle focused in its path on the throughway. It's one of my preferred hands-on frameworks, making smooth directing sources of info and guaranteeing separations are kept without shaking punches to either the brake or throttle. Taking into account how well prepared the B7 originates from the plant, there's not a ton of squirm room, however there's still some assortment on offer. For setting, my analyzer begins at $142,800, and a sprinkling of choices, $3,900 to support backseat extravagance, $1,000 for laser headlights, $900 for an all-encompassing LED-lit rooftop, $200 for a drive recorder and $3,400 for a superior sound system, brings that cost up to $153,195 including gold. To start with, I'll stay with my analyzer's flawless shade of Alpina green metallic, to some degree since it's a no-cost choice and to a limited extent since it just shakes. I'll keep the vehicle on its stock 20-inch wheels. As well, 21s are accessible, yet I'd preferably have more sidewall on my tire. Since I'm an extravagant kid, I'll drop $4,000 for the full merino cowhide inside in darker, complemented with a no-cost American dim oak trim. Avoiding the various alternatives, that brings my value down to a marginally increasingly satisfactory $147,795. As much as it may appear that the Alpina B7 exists in its very own class, it doesn't. The M7 probably won't exist, yet the Mercedes-AMG S63 sure as hell does, and it offers a bonkers V8 in the engine. However, the Mercs window sticker requests about $7,000 over the B7's cost. There's additionally some inside challenge from BMW. The M760i is more for the determined than the driver, and its V12 stuffed body directions a $15,000 premium over the Alpina. The 2020 Alpina B7 is certainly something unique. Notwithstanding conveying driving elements, solace and tech in spades, the B7 has a quality of restrictiveness that its rivals don't. In the event that you need something a little unusual that feels worth every last trace of its six-figure sticker price, the Alpina B7 is the place it's at.